Welcome back to another episode of Diddy Got a Podcast. If I can speak. Excuse me. Diddy Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Diddy. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Surprise, surprise. I changed the time for this live. I don't know, maybe 4 times. I went from 11 to 1 to 6 and now 6:30. I forget that I had other commitments earlier in the day. And yeah, I can never find a perfect time to really schedule it. So I do apologize for that. In today's video, we're going to be discussing Clive Davis, right? The music mogul Clive Davis has officially passed away at the young age of 94 years old, as reported by multiple outlets. All right. Please hit the like button on your way in. Please check out our merch store that can be found in the description. For those of you that are not aware, number one, that Clive Davis passed away or who Clive Davis even is, I'm going to play a snippet from a video that I'm going to confidently say is probably the most detail-oriented documentary-style video on Clive Davis that you will find across the entire internet. And trust me, I've done the research. It is only part one, by the way. The video is about an hour long. And in today's live, I'm going to play probably about 15 minutes worth of that hour-long video. I typically don't like to play any of it. I would prefer for you all to go and check it out. But the link to that documentary is also in the description. But it will be necessary for me to play a couple of clips just so you all get a sense of who we're talking about. And for that very reason, I will play just the intro, which is about 5 minutes of that video, to sort of set the stage as to who we will be discussing today, who you could arguably easily make the argument is the most evil person in music history. All right. Yet a member of the Patreon, link is in the description. Please consider becoming a member, as you will have access to many videos you cannot find here on YouTube. There are 3 people that I'd argue played the biggest roles in the rise of P. Diddy early on. A guy by the name of Andre Harrell, who worked at Def Jam and later founded Uptown Records in 1986. This is where Diddy would work for Harrell as an intern all the way to talent director and later VP of AR, where he would discover and help develop Mary J. Blige and Jodeci.
I was thinking to myself the other day, Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, Al B. Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
This is also where Diddy would meet the would-be mother of his children, Kim Porter, who would mysteriously pass away many years later after she separated from Diddy. Uptown is also when where Diddy would face similar accusations of sexual abuse, acts of violence, such as the 1991 Community College of New York celebrity basketball game that led to several people losing their lives that night. In his memoir, Notorious C.O.P., the former head of the NYPD Rap Intelligence Unit, Derek Parker, a COINTELPRO legacy program that grew directly out of Interagency Corporation and the Boss Unit, shares his first introduction to Diddy. Even before the CCNY disaster, well before he was a tabloid fixture, I became aware of Puffy, Sean Combs. He was hard to miss as he galvanized around early 90s hip-hop clubs and up the ladder of the music industry right from the bottom rung. At the time, Puffy was little known outside music biz circles. He wasn't even a performer yet, but a rising A&R executive at Uptown Records who threw crazy, notoriously raucous parties at a Midtown club called Red Zone. I knew about Puffy even then because I'd always kept one foot in the music world. I'd been promoting parties and hitting the clubs, as well as performing and recording demos as an R&B singer. And then Harrell would eventually fire Diddy in 1993, but surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, for reasons completely unrelated to those accusations, but instead due to Harrell feeling that Diddy had become too quote-unquote cocky And Harrell is also the one responsible for hiring Israeli-American Lear Cohen, who has worked with several prominent figures, including Young Thug, another Masonic puppet we have covered on this channel multiple times. Another major influence or mentor of Diddy's, I would have to say, is Russell Simmons, maybe more so indirectly, who I have loosely covered in the past along with his allegations against him in my Oprah video. Go and check that out when you get a chance. Simmons is co-founder of Def Jam Records, responsible for hiring Andre Harrell, who, by the way, was loosely tied to organized crime at the previous news station he worked at prior to joining Def Jam. And within 2 years at Def Jam, Andre Harrell moved up the ranks extremely and unusually fast to become VP and GM, very similar to the quick and suspicious rise of P. Diddy and the music industry as well. But part of the reason Def Jam was so successful at the time was due in part to his 1984 distribution deal with CBS and its subsidiary Columbia Records, run by their Jewish owner Walter Yetnikoff, who will come up later in this video for an extremely interesting and important reason that you don't want to miss. But this Walter guy worked with all the music icons such as Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney, James Taylor, and the list goes on. But he was also a close friend of another guy by the name of Clive Davis. Clive Davis, I would argue, is the third and most influential groomer and mentor of not only Sean Diddy Combs' career, but also his behind-the-scenes inappropriate behaviors, allegations, and tactics. And because of this, Clive Davis will be the sole focus of today's video. In fact, what many people don't know and will learn in this video is that Clive Davis's rise and dominance in the music industry is 100% tied to organized crime and intelligence agencies. And I will prove that in this video. Usually recognized as a pioneer and a legend in the music industry, Clive Davis has also been called an evil master puppeteer, accused of controlling artists' lives, using them until they were no longer any good to him, then disposing of them, and accused of sexually, financially, and psychologically exploiting many people in the music industry. Former CEO of Death Row Suge Knight even claims himself that, quote, Clive Davis, Russell Simmons, and Andre Harrell used alcohol and drugs to compromise Combs' manhood. A man in Clive Davis that waited until his 80s to admit in his memoir, showing the one-eye symbolism on the cover, by the way, that the wildly popular decades-old rumor was true, that he was bisexual. What other rumor did Clive Davis hold back from sharing as true? This video will cover the music industry, Clive Davis, and the individuals that directly inspired Sean Diddy Combs, their connection to criminal enterprises, drugs, the occult, Freemasonry, rituals, blackmail, lies, and even abuse. Yeah, and that is just the intro. That is just the first 5 minutes of an hour-long documentary. I have a YouTube version, and then I have a Patreon version, which, by the way, I plan to play just a snippet of the Patreon version because it'll be relevant to a person we'll be discussing in this video as well. Link is in the description to that documentary. Link is also link to the Patreon can also be found in the description. I would also like to state for the record that for those of you that have not been getting notifications that I've been posting videos, YouTube going through this nonsense with them again, like many other YouTubers from my understanding, then make sure that you're still subscribed. YouTube will unsubscribe you without your knowledge. Please make sure that you hit the notification bell. If you do not know what that means, when you hit the subscribe button, they will give you the option to hit a little bell. That bell will notify you, or is supposed to notify you, whenever that particular content creator is posting a video, right? It will let you know that they have went live. It will let you know if they have posted a video. I have taken about the last 40 days. Of the last 40 days, I've probably not posted half of those days. This is definitely my least active 30, 40-day period of the year. But I am back in rotation. And because of that, a lot of you all will not be able to catch these lives, but I'm going to keep pushing forward. I do plan to get into the Charlie Kirk stuff here a little bit just to update myself because I am behind. I'm going to reach out to a couple of content creators that's been trying to collab with me over the past few months. I haven't really had time. And maybe that's what I'll do. I think this is the perfect time. Maybe they can help me reintroduce some of the updates that's happening around the Rode mic uh, uh, resurgence, right? Because that was something that we covered as early as October, if that was possible, possibly what happened to Charlie Kirk. So I do want to share that for those of you that found this channel through the Charlie Kirk. But if you are interested in other topics, I've been posting about them over the past several weeks, including the Michael Jackson biopic that has been very popular on social media, especially. I did cover that because there's a lot of things that biopic left out, I believe intentionally. And there are several things, from my understanding, they plan to do a part two. And if they do a part two, they will still not cover some things that I shared in that video. And I tell you the reasons that they will not share those things. If you are interested, once again, those things are available on the channel. And I covered other topics as well. In today's video pertaining to Clive Davis, who once again, I could easily make the argument is the most evil man in music history, at least publicly, right? Front-facing wise, because I do believe he had masters and people that he answered to. I do believe that Clive Davis was a plant himself, right? I believe a lot of these, I believe he was a handler of Diddy, that being one of the people that I believe he helped handle. But I believe that it's no coincidence that Clive Davis was around for so long. I do believe that it's not a coincidence. I do not believe it's a coincidence that he was able to allegedly, just to protect myself here, allegedly commit several crimes, including participating in something called payola, which is where they would go and pay people to play records at these stations, these radio stations, which is illegal, right? And he is involved in one of the, I believe the biggest one back in the 90s, may have been 93, 94, I forget. All right. But we're going to react to, we're going to read a couple of articles. We're going to react to some videos that are very important. But before we get into anything, let's go and read the article that talks about this gentleman, Clive Davis, and his passing. All right. All righty. Let's see. Why is there such a huge advertisement here? Let's refresh the page. Okay. It says here, prayers up. Legendary music mogul Clive Davis passes away at 94. And this is what Clive Davis looks like, obviously. All right. So it says legendary music mogul Clive Davis has passed away at the age of 94. According to TMZ, the outlet confirmed the passing of Clive Davis on Monday, June 22nd. Furthermore, on Monday morning, a post was shared via Davis's official Instagram, which read in part, "To the world, our father was the iconic music legend whose vision, instincts, and relentless pursuit of excellence shaped the soundtrack of countless lives. Today, we celebrate not only a towering figure whose influence changed music forever, but the man who led our family with grace, generosity, and kindness. We will miss him greatly, cherish him always, and carry his love with us for the rest of our lives." Per the outlet, Davis passed away in his home in New York City. At this time, his cause of death reportedly remains unclear. However, it was recently reported that he had been hospitalized, quote, with an upper respiratory infection before being discharged on June 4th. All right, so there is a good chance that this may be the reason. But it is also important to note that it is the summer solstice. If you do not know what the summer solstice is, then you may definitely be new to this channel. But it is the summer solstice that explains, allegedly, why producers such as Tay Keith, a very popular producer in the hip-hop scene, hip-hop space, has most notoriously worked with people like Drake, probably the biggest name he's worked with the most. He's worked with Beyonce. He's worked with Sexy Red and several other artists as well, including Travis Scott. All right. And the summer solstice is something we've covered many times on this channel. It's typically where you see celebrities pass away. For those of you that may be new to this channel or maybe a little skeptical of the language and the sort of things that we allude to, yes, it is possible for celebrities to pass away without a conspiracy being attached to it. Absolutely is possible. But knowing how things work, as humans, we typically notice patterns. All right. And I do find it interesting that he passed away during this time of the year. All right. But something I found interesting here, let's go down a little bit more. It says, see the full post shared via his official Instagram below. So here's his Instagram, Clive J. Davis. I wonder what the J stands for. If you catch the joke, you catch it. All right. So here's the post, 18,000 likes. But it says here, now let me see how this shows up on you all's end. Okay, I can make that a little bit bigger, I'm pretty sure. Okay, it says social media reacts. Social media users reacted to the death of Clive Davis in the comment section. Per TMZ, Davis discovered Whitney Houston and founded Bad Boy Records with Diddy and signed and developed the likes of Alicia Keys, Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, and more. All right. And here are some of the comments. It says documentary gonna be longer than a CVS receipt. That just these examples are just going to show you the reputation of Clive Davis. It says, okay, Brandy, now, what did the letter say? I'm ready for the documentary. Hopefully these NDAs ended too. And I.E. don't care. Long live Whitney. Long live Whitney. So as you can see, Whitney Houston is a name that notoriously comes up, and we're going to cover that later in the video because one of the biggest things that's attached to Clive Davis's name is the death of Whitney Houston. For those of you that don't know, Whitney Houston would pass away, I believe, on the same night of, I believe, the Grammys night. I believe they were having some sort of Grammy celebrations party, but we're going to play the clip because I did cover that in the Clive Davis documentary as well. But what's important to note is the suspicion around her death, just like there was suspicion around Michael Jackson, which Clive Davis, from my knowledge, had nothing to do with. But my point is, these high-level celebrities, right, who pass away under very suspicious circumstances, continue to have these people attached to their death. And in this case, Clive Davis is attached, and you're going to learn why. And even if you know why, you may learn something new later in today's live. But this one right here, you see, this says, okay, Brandy, now what did the letter say? Now, for those of you that don't know, are not familiar with what this person is referring to, let me show you. So there's an infamous video of Brandy slipping a note, a letter to Whitney Houston while she was interviewing. She was in the middle of an interview with Clive Davis. Or I should say, Whitney Houston slipped a letter to Brandy. And to this day, publicly, we've never been able to see what that letter said. She's never talked about it. She's kept it a secret. And a lot of people believe it's because it was related to Clive Davis, and it was supposed to warn Brandy about who Clive Davis is, what he's about, and that maybe she was in danger, because not long after that, obviously, as we know, Whitney Houston would unfortunately lose her life, which the date that she lost her life is very interesting as well, which once again, I'm going to cover that later in today's live. But for now, I just want to refresh you all's memory who may be aware. And I want to introduce this clip to you all that may have never seen this. Check it out. Look at Brandy's face. The fact that she opened it immediately right there. I'm not the type to do something like that. If you slip something to me, then it's just for me. People have done this with me before. I'm not going to open it where someone else can see it. So either Brandy was just that green or that unaware, or I just don't know why you would just open it right there. But check out her face after she opened the letter. Why she look like that? Let's do it one more time. You see her face? Why is Brandy looking like that? Look at that. That's weird. This is for you. Okay. And she keeps a little fake smile going for the cameras. She's looking down at this letter that has to be important.
I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Mom, come see her. Come say hi to. Come say hi to your godfather. Okay. Come say hi to your goddad.
So that's the clip that has circulated across the internet for years. And as you can see, there's a big reason why. All right. And so I'm trying to decide what I want to get into first. Before we talk about the Diddy piece, we're also going to discuss Ray J as well. in this video. I can't wait to get to him because he's trending right now, which I think is also very ironic. Ray J is trending in the streaming world. All of a sudden, he has the money to buy other streamers very expensive McLarens, cars such as the McLaren. Don't know if that's just for show or not, but we're going to. I saw on. I'm going to give a shout out to Black Balloon. Shout out to the YouTuber Black Balloon. I watched a little bit of his coverage of the Clive Davis. He did a great job. But there's a video that I had never seen before that I actually want to react to with you all. And it is of the gentleman, Sean Ryan. You all know who Sean Ryan is. As they say, I believe he's quote unquote ex-CIA, which there's no such thing. I'm a bit skeptical of Sean Ryan as well. But he interviewed a gentleman a while back. And we're gonna react to this because I had some thoughts that I haven't heard anyone else share. It says Clive Davis, the mastermind behind P. Diddy monster, behind the P. Diddy monster. I definitely agree with that. So let's sort of get into this, and I'm going to give you all my opinion based on the research that I've done on Clive Davis.
P. Diddy has been getting away with all kinds of stuff. There was that shooting that he walked from. We've seen some clips of him beating on women. I mean, that's pretty standard operating procedure for him. But now there's 8 lawsuits that have been filed against him for sexual assault.
Excuse me. The music industry is evil by nature, right? You have to play their game in order to be a part of the game, right? You have to play the game. And even the people in the industry do not like Clive Davis. What should that tell you? Most people in the music industry are snakes, right? They're backstabbers. They're vultures, right? They'll use the word God loosely in their speeches, but their music does not reflect that, right? The Most High says that he'll know us by our fruits, right? And the music industry bears bad fruit. There's a reason for that. And even the people in the industry, according to this guy, didn't even like Clive Davis. And we're gonna substantiate those claims throughout this live today to prove why it is that so many people, even the culprits in the industry, had this strong disdain for Clive Davis. Yes. So this is the part of the conversation I wanted to speak to the most, because this always just baffles me, man. Just in all honesty, this blows my mind that the way some people could frame this is, well, maybe Sean Ryan just isn't into the music industry as much. Maybe he's just not as well vetted, right? Well researched. You don't have to be. I think this is very disingenuous to pretend that it's some outrageous claim. Not that he called it outrageous, but to say, do you really think that the government is interested in? Why would they not be? It would be more confusing if they were not. That being the CIA, the FBI, it doesn't matter. NASA, I don't care. Of course you have some sort of interest, right? There is some sort of benefit of being involved, or even controlling the entertainment industry. Why? Because it controls the masses. It has a say into what is popular in society, what people are listening to, what people, have a likeness for. These things are extremely important. And I did a little bit of research, and I want to remind everybody that the CIA's public, this is just what they've admitted to. All right. This is just what they've admitted to in the past. Their involvement in the entertainment industry. The CIA secretly funded, that is, until they later admitted to it, they secretly funded and promoted cultural organizations as part of the Cold War. So as far back as the Cold War, to showcase American artistic freedom and counter Soviet influence. This became public in the 1960s and 1970s, and you can look this up. They had an active involvement, right? Because it's important how we feel about certain wars. It's important how we feel about where we fall in the larger scheme, right? As it pertains to other countries, other continents. It's important how the people that's living here, how we view ourselves, how we think about our country. Because if we start to believe that we are the bad guy, right, that we are the bully, the people could turn on the government, right? And a major example that was given is something called Congress for Cultural Freedom. Look this up, Congress for Cultural Freedom. And this organization sponsored artists, different intellectuals, magazines, and cultural events worldwide while receiving covert CIA funding. That is to say, the CIA was backing this organization because they had an agenda, they had a motive, right? Other examples, and many of you all are older than me, so you may be well aware of these things. John Lennon, the FBI monitored John Lennon extensively in the 1970s because the Nixon administration viewed his anti-war activism as politically influential, right? Jimi Hendrix, the famous guitar player, Jimi Hendrix, don't think I need to introduce that guy. May need to do an entire video on him and where he came from and his family. Jimi Hendrix literally had his own FBI file. Why does a regular musician, why do they have an FBI file unless they're out here committing crimes? Unless there's some sort of other vetted interest in this person, right? Aretha Franklin, right? She was monitored for connections to the civil rights figures. We all know the biggest names out there, including Martin Luther King, who I also have a documentary on. If you haven't seen it yet, I would highly encourage you to watch that as well. And of course, we all know about NWA, N Words with Attitude. I mean, they were heavily monitored by the FBI because of their lyrics, but because they were viewed as anti-police. But I believe that entire group was full of plants as well, including Ice Cube, who I like a lot of his lyrics. He had a lot of quote unquote woke music, but I also believe that their backstories is a bit sketchy as it pertains to where they came from, and they tried to make it sound like they came from the hood when a lot of those people came from middle class 2-parent homes, including Ice Cube, right? So yeah, it's not a very far-fetched thing to believe that the freaking FBI, CIA would. And again, these are just public, and those are just some examples. There are many other examples. There are many times I've made videos on this channel alone about industry plants and why I believe they're allowed to be industry plants, right? And it is to push an agenda. The age-old question is, how did our music get worse from the 90s onward? What changed? Maybe because there was a quote-unquote secret meeting that took place that we've covered on this channel. I've covered this with Tupac, who I believe was a plant. Biggie Smalls, who I believe was a plant, right? There was a meeting that allegedly took place in the 90s with these, bankers and business owners and shot callers. The peoples from that, who I don't doubt are people from that one community we can't criticize. The elite ones, that is. There was a meeting that allegedly took place during the 90s where there was going to be some sort of concerted effort, right, to change the message in hip hop. So that's why we went from a lot of the conscious rap, truly what woke actually means, the original meaning of the word woke before it was hijacked. Actual woke music was just meant to be aware, right? To be awake, to be conscious of your surroundings and your community and your people and your health and your well-being. There was allegedly a meeting that took place in the 90s where these, this small table of shot callers, right, elite individuals over the music industry had a vetted interest in the private prison industry. The private prison industry. And they wanted to create some sort of pipeline that is a hip hop to prison or a hip hop to private prison pipeline. The idea of private prisons instead of public prisons is crazy, but they will make a lot of money and their stocks will go through the roof if they were to find a way to funnel people into the private industry, the private prison industry. And one of the biggest ways to do it is to change the message in hip hop. Make it legal. It's not illegal to encourage people to commit crimes, to make illegal lifestyles, fast lifestyles, right? Corrupt lifestyles, right? Degrading lifestyles to look cool. So instead of saying take care of your family, raise your children, the message is going to flip. Make fast money, drug distribution, drug use, right? Getting as many women, getting and sleeping with as many women as possible, and the list goes on. Right? And no, it's not just the black entertainers. The white people as well, the Beatles, right? Elvis Presley, all of these people, I believe, were plants. So no, it's not far-fetched at all to believe that they have some sort of concerted effort. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they?
I started my podcast with 0 tech skills in just one tool, Riverside. I create high.
Would. Yeah, would. And you say you don't know who Clive Davis is. If I am to believe you, then it is showing. Your ignorance is showing, because if you are Clive Davis and you are tied to some of the most influential, biggest celebrities and musicians and singers of all time, Janis Joplin, Whitney Houston, Alicia Keys, P. Diddy, right? It's people that he's attached to so many of these people that I forget more than I remember. Freaking Luther Vandross. People forget about that. He was tied to Luther Vandross, and people even accuse him of blackmailing Luther Vandross. Again, these are things that I cover in the documentary in great detail. All right. Link is in the description. As a reminder, guys, please hit the like button. I got to remind myself to say this. Please hit the like button. It helps the video tremendously. Please hit the like button. It would mean so much to me. I got 700 people in here. We should have at least 650 likes. If you all do not mind. Thank you so much. I've heard someone else's theory is that because of Clive Davis's ethnicity, that I won't mention flat out here, but I did say it in the snippet earlier in the video, because of his ethnicity. He's a part of that elite community. And while I do believe that's extremely important, I do believe that plays a role, that is not the only reason. I believe it's because of his ties that, once again, I cover in the documentary. Clive Davis is not just some regular A&R person who came from college and worked his way up through the ranks. Clive Davis was tied to the right people. Walter, I believe his name is Walter Yetnikoff. A lot of these people that was over CBS with the all-seeing eye, selected as their logo of all things, which makes no sense. These people are tied, and this isn't even a conspiracy theory. I literally prove in the documentary that the people responsible for starting CBS literally have a history working in the CIA. Some of them have history working in the FBI. Some of them literally came from not a propaganda. What is it called? It's one of the units that's called dang it, it's slipping my mind, but it's similar to like propaganda unit, right? They are responsible for pushing certain messages to mislead people. That was their message. And if somebody can help me remember what that's called, that would be great. But yeah, they were part of narrative control. They come from that to starting a music label. Nobody finds that weird, strange, of course. Right? Of course. So he was tied to the right people. He was in a position to do the very things that he ended up doing. He knew what his role was, and he would be protected. And Diddy was no different. Diddy just wasn't as powerful as Clive Davis for multiple reasons, and he got humbled. He got a slice of humble pie. Right? Run that back. All you got to do is listen to the last name, and there's your answer.
As in who?
Bruce Springsteen. I mean,
Okay.
Springsteen. Okay. If it ends with Stein, you better leave that person alone. If you're in the music industry, example. And before this slips my mind, I have to share this. I have to share it. So there is a individual, and I'm gonna digress here, or it may seem like a digression. It's not really a digression though. This is 100% relevant. So there's an artist by the name of, let me see. Okay, that's annoying. Hold on, give me 1 sec. I want to get an original. Actually, I'll just do it this way. Let's see. So let's see if this works. There's an artist. Her name is Young Miami. And you're going to see here in just a moment why this is important, why this is relevant. So Young Miami, which was a part of a group called City Girls before she went solo. Let me show you what she looks like first. Okay. Or not. That one didn't work either. Of course it didn't work because it's not supposed to work. Of course. Let's try this. Okay. That's going to act up. So I'm just going to share my screen. So there's an artist by the name of Young Miami. This is Young Miami, everybody. What is going on here, man? Okay, so y'all see her? This is Young Miami. I might be able to zoom in. Okay, not what I tried to do. Okay, I can't, but it doesn't matter. You all see her. This is Young Miami. Well, Young Miami was a part of a group called City Girls. That is until she went solo. All right. And Young Miami happens to also be the girlfriend or the previous girlfriend. What is going on here? Of the one and only P. Diddy. And that is a very interesting hand sign that she's throwing up there. If you know, you know. That's not a coincidence at all. Now, all the things that's come out about P. Diddy over the past, just couple of years, why would any woman, I mean, who am I to judge? But I'm just saying, if you choose to date this man, knowing what it's been proven that he's done, things that he's into, which I'm not a woman, never been a woman, don't want to be a woman, I would imagine that it should disgust you, but some women don't care about that. She willingly stayed and decided to date this man, despite the fact that their age difference. I mean, do what you please. Men we typically like younger women. Women typically like older men. But their age gap, I believe, is about like 30 years or something crazy, right? The reason why I'm talking about Young Miami is because Young Miami, for those of you that don't know, I was playing pool a couple of weeks ago. Those of you that don't know, I love to play pool. It's probably my favorite sport outside of basketball. And I'm in there with a couple of buddies, and the song comes on, and it's super catchy. You can't deny how catchy the song is. It's like, spin nesting, spin nesting, spin nesting. And it's like, it's super catchy. There's a dance to it, because another thing we've discussed on the channel is that they will pay off content creators and influencers, especially on TikTok, to organically find a song that's not super popular, and they'll create a dance to this song, even though all of it is manufactured. And it's just meant to make the song more viral, right? It's meant to impact the virality of a song. Why am I talking about this? Because Young Miami, who just so happens to be I don't want to say long time, but I believe they were dating for years. The longtime girlfriend of P. Diddy. I started listening to the lyrics of this song, and I stopped and I was like, I talked about this just the other day, I believe, in my what video was that? In my OnlyFans video. I did a dark truth on the history of OnlyFans and the adult entertainment industry. I would highly encourage you all to go and watch it if you haven't seen it as of yet. That video was shadow banned. I showed the email to prove it. But I show you the true history. We obviously know it's a dark industry, but when I say the true history, I'm saying the people that were behind it and what it was about. I want to show you all the lyrics to this song. And I want to show you just how bad it is for our young people. I don't mean to sound like I'm in my 60s, but man, I don't have it as bad as a 15-year-old. A 15-year-old hearing that, it's going to be a lot difficult for their brain to be able to fight the temptation of these lyrics. So first of all, first and foremost, let me see if I can zoom in here. If we can appreciate, let me zoom all the way in. Okay, I can't. If we can appreciate, let me zoom out, the thumbnail here of Young Miami on the left side of your screen here, that is okay. I don't even know if y'all can see it. Let me remove this. Let me put that up. That'll probably work a lot better. So the far left, to the far left of your screen, you should see Young Miami here with the blonde wig on. We talked about the blonde ritual in the industry for both men and women. They pretty much almost always have to go through a blonde hair ritual. It's not just a style. It's not because they think they look good in it. There are other things going on here. Well, Young Miami, who looks a lot like Cardi B in this thumbnail, and the reason she looks a lot like Cardi B in this thumbnail is because she's went through major surgery, which is another thing that you have to do as a female in the music industry. It's almost inevitable that it's going to take place. And she's even went viral at one point in her career because how much surgery she's had since joining the industry, which nobody should be shocked about. And I don't think she was a bad looking woman before, but she looks totally different now. Totally different because of the surgery that she's had. But let's get to the biggest reason why I mentioned her so we can get back to Clive Davis. But this is extremely important to point out. She has a song called Spin That, right? As you can see here, Spin That. And let's go down here a little bit. I think it even just described a little bit of who she is. Young Miami is one half of the American rap duo City Girls. She is signed to Quality Control Music, which is the same music label as the Migos and, Bankroll Freddie, who I actually went to school with, who's from my city. And several other people, Lil Yachty and the crew, right? They rose to fame in 2018. They had a couple of viral songs, very stereotypical raunchy songs. But it's the lyrics to this song where I said, this is some CIA government BS. Nobody is willingly putting lyrics like this together. She says, Jay White, turn me up, or the song starts off, Jay White, turn me up. Miami, this for all my scammers and my get money bees, right? She's allergic to saying women. She can't say girls. She has to say the B word. Got you. You say, well, that's nitpicking. Okay. The chorus hits and I go, nobody intentionally chooses to put this in a song. And even if you did, somebody around you will say, well, isn't this going a little bit too far? Can't we replace some of these words? Keep the same tune, keep the same instrumental. It'll still be super catchy, may still go viral. But why do we have to promote this? She says, where all my scamming N words at? Spending that money fast. 20s, 50s, 100s cash. Boy, go in that Goyard bag. Boosting bees, where y'all at? Do you know what a boosting bee is? Do you know what boosting bee means? Boosting means she's referring to, in this particular case, women in particular who steal merchandise out of stores and different places, and then they sell it for a cheaper price. Why would you be encouraging this? Boosting bees, where y'all at? Stuffing that stuff in y'all bag. Just to flip it, pop some tags. Girl, go in that Goyard bag. Spin that stuff. And as we know, repetition is the single most thing we learn from childhood. It's a hit. It's going to always be a hit when you can just hit something or repeat something, like repetition, over and over and over. Spin it. This is her verse. I like a gangster AN word. Make it more than 10 figures. Like, do what? Less than 1% of the population. Okay. I'm a down AB riding with you in the splat. Only F with the hitters. Do you know what hitters mean? People that unalive other people or who are very willing to. At the very least, they're going to bust their gun. Only F with the hitters. For his girl, he'll trick her, which means he'll spend money on her under any circumstances. Calling up his trap phone, which means he's indulging in illegal activity, most likely selling drugs or scamming people. Calling his trap phone, which means most likely he has a trap house, which means once again he's most likely selling drugs. Calling up his trap phone, PUSSYN word, where you at? Show me where you spin the block on your ops. If you are saying something like this, I imagine that you're probably 11 or 12 years old. Anything above the 11th grade in high school, nobody's going to be willingly say, show me where you spin the block on your ops. Hanging out the drop, screaming F the cops. Bro, what? She's just saying things. What we doing, N-word? Show me where your hood at. What's your face card? Where you good at? She's an op. This woman is an industry plant. You put the worst things in a song you can think of and put the song out. Find a catchy tune, a catchy chorus. Okay, I'm not lyrical. I can't rap. I can't sing. I'm not really happy with my body. So I'm going to get plastic surgery to look like Nicki Minaj after her surgery, to look like Cardi B after her surgery, to look like Lil Kim after her surgery, to look like Rihanna after her surgery for the most part, or in some ways. And because I can't sing and I can't rap, but I'm connected, let me find the people that's connected, find me a catchy hook, a catchy beat, dress it up to make me look and sound good. I have most of the pieces put together. I know I don't deserve to be here unless I push a message. Think of the worst things possible. Where my scamming dudes at? Where my boosting girls at? Yeah, the things that'll get you 10 to 30 to life. Where you at with it? Taking penitentiary chances instead of just working and making an honest living? Where y'all at? And then I'm going to be celebrated in public despite pushing destruction on the very people that's celebrating me. This is CIA behavior. And it is because I believe that she's an industry plant. You don't get to date Diddy unless you're involved. Do you catch my drift? All right. Unless you've taken an oath. All right. Which brings me to my next person, Mr. Ray J. Before we get to the article where we're going to read about Clive Davis and his affiliates and his ties, right? His background. I'm going to play a snippet from my Clive Davis documentary just so you all can understand part of the reason people think that Clive Davis is absolutely evil and why people throw shade towards Ray J's way as well, who once again is conveniently trending right now, that being Ray J, for his sort of resurgence in the streaming community as it pertains to what's his name? Adrian Broner, former champion boxer, I believe a 4-time champion, and his streaming mate, a guy by the name of Dean the Great. I believe they are the number one streamers outside of they may be the most trending streamers right now, but I believe the top streamers are still the likes of Casanet and what's our guy who's everywhere. He went to Africa. Can't think of his name in this very moment. I Show Speed. Here's a snippet from the documentary as it pertains to Whitney Houston's death and Ray J's potential involvement. Hit the like button once again, please.
It's definitely
It'll make you cry if you really love music and if you really love Whitney Houston.
It is even said that Clive Davis and Whitney Houston had a nasty fight just 2 days prior to her untimely demise. But let's talk about her untimely demise. Because on that day, February 11, 2012, or another way to think about that date is 02/12/2012, Whitney Houston would allegedly pass away due to drowning in extremely hot bath water, might I add, with heart disease and cocaine use deemed as contributing factors, according to the coroner office's autopsy report.
Hi, how you doing? This is security from Beverly Hilton. Hi, what's going on? I need the paramedics. Apparently, I got a 46-year-old female found in the bathrooms. That's all I've got right now, but they're requesting paramedics. Okay, female found in the bathroom. What room is she in? I'm not sure. She fell or she was in the bathroom with the water. 434? I'm sorry. That's room 434? Yes. Okay, and there's not east, west, or anything else? It's room 434? Yeah. Okay, and you don't know if she's conscious of breathing at all? Apparently she wasn't breathing, and she's 46-year-old. She was not breathing? Yes. Okay, but she is breathing now? I don't know.
However, it was also reported by a private investigator that her body was actually badly beaten, which is inconsistent with the quote-unquote accident narrative. This private investigator also reported that he had evidence to suggest that there were 2 drug dealers that killed Whitney Houston. On this day, she was found unconscious at 3:55 p.m. in suite number 434, submerged in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, which just so happened to coincide with the 2012 Grammy Awards, which took place the same exact day. In fact, the pre-Grammy party, hosted by none other than Clive Davis, continued as scheduled despite everyone in attendance, including Clive, knowing that Whitney's deceased body was laying just above them as they partied.
She was doing 2 numbers in a mother's act, so I went in, and the first song she sang, I knew. Just a revelation.
So she lit up your life.
She lit up my life. She lit up the room. I knew that I had to sign her.
I was there that historic night, that party that you throw every year, and the tragic day that she died. That there were many. Why did you let the party go on?
Of course, this is a personal thing. But the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
You did a magnificent evening.
Into.
Did you give a thought to canceling?
Never.
You never thought?
Never.
Did you ever think?
And the family did not want me to give a thought.
Didn't?
No.
One could argue that this was a form of an energy harvesting ritual. Remember, the Grammys is usually some sort of public ritual taking place for the masses, as we have covered Sam Smith in the past, Madonna's performance, the 2017 Beyonce performance, and the list goes on. There have also been rumors over the years that Ray J, whom Whitney was allegedly romantically involved with at the time, despite their huge age difference, and even though I have good reason to believe that they actually weren't dating, but it was a different type of relationship that we're about to speak about in a moment, it's been alleged that he was actually present at the hotel when everything happened. Now, I do want to state for the record that he's come out multiple times and denied this and claimed that he was actually in a completely different state at a show.
I barely speak on Whitney. She's Whitney Houston.
Yes. Number one, you mentioned murder.
If you look on all my comments,
yes,
every time I go live, anything, you kill Whitney.
Okay.
That happens, and spam.
Now speak your truth on that.
Here's the truth. I love Whitney. I was with Whitney every fucking day. She was one of the most important people to me.
So y'all had a real relationship?
1000%, bro.
The real emotions?
Bro, that was my people, bro. We was gonna make it official the night she passed, bro. We didn't get a chance to, and I was on my way back and just never saw her again, bro. Niggas is saying that I was in the room when she died. Bro, that's the biggest cap I've ever heard. I've heard it since the beginning. I wasn't even there. I was nowhere around.
Where were you?
I was in San Diego doing a show.
Okay.
When I got back to the hotel, they did not let me up until everything was cleared and it was just the family. That's when I was able to go upstairs and see the family. This is you talking like late at night. When I pull up, I got my shoes. I'm ready to go to the event. I just talked to her on the phone. She's not there no more. It's over. And Ray, who was her bodyguard, he found her and he called me. CNN says Ray J found her. And then 10 minutes later, like, oh no, Ray her bodyguard. That shit's 10 minutes later, bro. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But so, there's a innocence with jumping to conclusion, and you can kind of see why. Obviously, there's similarities in names, but that was not you.
I was nowhere to be found.
Right.
And I hate talking about it because I got so much love for her. I've never seen her in that state.
Yeah.
They never. So to make me that person when I wasn't even there, and then to put murderer on top of that.
Did you guys do drugs?
I've never done one drug with Whitney. And then when niggas ask me, did Whitney do drugs? I mean, you don't gotta, there's certain things you can ask me and I'll tell you about me. But you don't gotta ask the other question because you already fucking know, like, it's Whitney. Everybody knows certain answers. After that shit happened, I tried hard drugs for the first time after this shit happened because I was just like, I didn't know what was going on, bro. I was totally like.
Did you ever witness her doing drugs?
Whitney?
Yes.
I don't want to talk about that because then it's like, put it like this. I'm way younger, bro.
Mm-hmm.
She's in control, bro. She's Whitney. She's a boss. And so to make me the big dog, I'm not the big dog, bro. I'm the little nigga, bro. I'm the little homie.
But of course, as always, after Whitney passed away, just like every other musician and artist, her music and popularity resurged and her numbers skyrocketed, which means once again, Clive Davis came out on the winning side of things. But that's not all. Many people have accused Clive Davis of actually being responsible for calling the drug dealers that showed up to Whitney's hotel that night to collect a 7-figure debt worth over $1.5 million that she owed due to her drug addiction. And many people also don't know that during the Diddy trial earlier this year, one of the drug dealers was allegedly named and his name was Ray J. This prompted a couple of people attending the trial to speculate that the only logical conclusion would be that one of the drug dealers that is, was Ray J, the R&B singer, which caused a heated back and forth online between Ray J and the accusers.
Ray J was brought up in court today. They told Vanna, drug dealer Ray J, and she said, I don't know if that's his name. It sounds like that singer, but I don't think it's him.
Yeah, when I heard that, as a matter of fact, I think everybody gasped when we heard
gasped.
That. Because we still want justice for Whitney Houston. Ray J was Whitney Houston's gay best friend selling her illegal substances, and it's alleged that he gave her a fatal cocktail because Clive Davis allegedly had an insurance policy on her, and obviously when these celebrities pass away, their music sell like crazy. And Whitney Houston was supposed to perform that night, and we know that her performance skills just went down the drain. So, Ray J, the feds are watching you.
But why did they say the drug dealer today was Ray J? Do you think it's the same guy? She's trying to say it's not, but you thought it was.
Absolutely, I believe it's Ray J, the singer. And if I had one wish, you need to come out the closet. That's what I wish. And I do believe it was that Ray J. What other person in Hollywood has the name Ray J? Nobody. It was him. You've been pushing the opioids and stuff over there in California. You got Whitney Houston unalive because you knew she was susceptible to it, and he pushed that off on Cassie. I'm willing to bet that Diddy didn't get Cassie hooked. It was Ray J.
It also doesn't help Ray J's case when you consider the fact that shortly before Whitney's death, she will be seen on camera crashing in an interview with Clive Davis and the R&B artist Brandy, who is the sister of Ray J, and Whitney can be seen slipping Brandy a note that many people saw as Whitney's attempt to cry out for help and inform Brandy that Whitney's life was in danger, and possibly by one or two individuals that Brandy knew. And many people believe because Brandy actually knew about this and she was possibly even related to a person that played a role, she remained silent. I also would like to note that it appears from this clip that Whitney kissed Clive Davis on the lips, which is extremely uncomfortable to watch and weird. And it only gets stranger once you realize that the same day that Whitney Houston lost her life just so happened to be Brandy's birthday, which is even more interesting when you consider the fact, or at least the theories that a lot of people have thrown out there over the years, that they believe that Clive Davis was done with Whitney Houston since she didn't and wasn't able to sing the way that she used to, and wanted to replace her with Brandy. And it continues to get even more interesting because there's an interview that Ray J decided to give just the day before Whitney Houston lost her life that I personally found to be extremely coincidental. Several things about this interview was very coincidental and very interesting that I'm betting that you're going to find to be very interesting as well. The first thing I want you to notice is that when Ray J first walks out, he shakes Mr. Lopez's hand, which that's a very interesting character in himself. And I really can make an entire video on that guy, but I won't digress here. But he shakes his hand, and immediately after shaking his hand, he immediately says, new book. He immediately promotes this book in his hand. And the first word on this book is death. I also want you to notice the upside down triangle that is literally smack dead in the middle of the both of them with the words extra on it. I also want you to notice that both of these individuals are wearing all black, similar to what you would be wearing if you're going to a funeral. Is it a coincidence that the first word on this book is death, that he just so happened to be promoting, and both of these individuals are wearing all black? Not to mention, Ray J is wearing a polo shirt with the number 3 on it, which we've discussed the number 3 multiple times. It represents the union of opposites or duality. Black and white shirt, duality, which is really big in Freemasonry. But something else interesting about this interview is that immediately after they shake hands, Ray J goes out of his way to randomly promote the book before they even get into the interview. And then Mr. Lopez immediately goes, well, before we talk about your book, I want to dispel a rumor that's been going around. And what's the rumor about? Whitney Houston. Take a listen for yourself.
Please welcome my very special guest, recording artist, reality star, and now author, Mr. Ray J. What's up, man? How you been?
Really good.
Doing good.
Good, man.
So a lot I want to
New
catch
book.
up with you. I know you got the new book. I want to get it. Before we get into the new book, though, I want to get a little rumor out of the way that I heard. You've been seen around town with Whitney Houston. Now, I know the rumors back in the day that y'all were hanging out. Well, what's the deal right now?
We hang, you know, it's Grammy weekend and she's in town and we had dinner and, you know, she's such an icon to where it reaches the masses. But, you know, we had a good time. We had dinner, that's it.
So, platonic, good for it. Hey, there's worse people you can hang with. You know what I'm saying? So how's she doing these days, by the way?
She's doing good. Everybody's good, you know, and she's good. My family's good. You know, everybody's doing good.
Good to hear.
Yep.
Sister, mom, and everybody?
Yeah, everybody's doing good.
Nice.
Brandy's setting up a new song with Monica. They're going to perform at the Clive Davis Grammy party.
Oh, great.
It's going to be good.
And it also doesn't help when you consider the fact that Ray J seen a surge in his career after Miss Whitney Houston passed away, right? Later in 2012, he would guest appear as a recurring character on the Ricky Smiley Show, and he also co-hosted the reunion special in 2012 of the Bad Girls Club Las Vegas reunion, and then in 2013 he hosted the Bad Girls All-Star Battle, and then in 2014 he was on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Yeah, man, that is once again a much longer snippet. I try not to play clips that are that long, but that is a snippet from my own video, Clive Davis documentary. Once again, linked in the description. That is much later in the video when we discuss the Whitney Houston Ray J connection. And once again, as I stated in this video or this live, something I found interesting is that Ray J is trending right now, right? When it comes to Adrian Broner, as you can see here, this is just June 5th. Right, it says Adrian Broner exposed Ray J's girlfriend Timu Kim Kardashian because, as we know, Ray J and made Kim Kardashian famous because of their adults content video. They filmed their own video in the bedroom for allegedly hooking up. Adrian Broner exposed Ray J's girlfriend Timu Kim Kardashian for allegedly hooking up with him the same night they briefly met in an elevator, leaving Ray J stunned. I did not go up to your penthouse. Stop lying, Ray J. You know you did. Stop lying to Ray J. You know you did. Let's take a listen.
Oh, for the
Where do I know you from? That's Sheila.
You know what? I think I met you in Vegas one time, and you were like I was going down the elevator.
Yeah.
You were like, put my number in your phone. I was like,
and you did?
No, I didn't.
Shit me.
Do you have my number?
No.
Look up my number. This was years ago. Right?
It was years ago, Ray. I'm not gonna look it up. I remember you. Yeah. And did. And we went to the loft too. We went to my loft too. We went to my loft too. I remember you. No,
I did not.
You had wait.
Because I was with someone else.
Listen to
There's
me.
no way I could have went to your life.
I can't forget.
If this was three. This
I
was
can't
like 3
forget
years
her
ago.
face
I
like
didn't
you.
even know. I didn't even know you at the time.
And
I was with my ex. There's no way.
right. You right.
There's no way. My ex, it doesn't matter.
I wasn't able to go in, but I went in and I'm like, yo.
And this is him going viral on June 16th. So this is just days ago. Ray J had Adrian Broner and his brother genuinely questioning his sexuality after telling a wild story about how he almost smashed a trans girl without realizing it at first.
I know what it is. She got that decatheter on. That little metal piece that make you stop from having babies and shit, right? So I'm like, and I had hit a girl like that, and that shit was like scratching the condom, everything. So I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna go there. But out of respect, I'm gonna just suck on her titties, and we start talking about her styling career and shit. And then I was like, that's it. 5 months later, the homie knock on my door in Miami, and he like, yo, I need to talk to him. I'm like, yo, I'm in with the family. He like, right now. He like, yo, the girl, nigga, we was fucking with, nigga, at the house, remember? The woo stylist, because she was a famous stylist. He said, she's a man. She's a man. I'm like, damn, why you tripping like that? Calm down. And I was like, damn, I think it happened because I had to put two and two together. I'm like, all right, maybe I did it too. So I'm like, let me think. Nah, hold on, bro. This serious. So I'm like, oh shit. And shout out to the LGBTQIA plus. And I'm like, oh shit, I know what I did. I did suck on her.
Okay, I forget this is Twitter, and it's super explicit over there, and I try not to share language like that too often on my channel. But as you can see, that's always been in question. I thought that was very strange because he's been all over the timeline, Ray J, over the past couple of weeks, and now, of all people, Clive Davis passes away. He passes away, and obviously people have been waiting for this moment because they feel like a lot of people have been under NDAs and have been contractually prohibited from speaking on certain things that Clive Davis has been responsible for in the music industry. All right. Ray J is just a weird person in general. He makes me feel uncomfortable because he always seems to be lying or telling half the truth, or it's just something weird about him. It's just off. Very, very off. The last thing I want to share is I want to give a shout out to Whitney Webb. I gave a shout out to her in the Clive Davis documentary as well. And we're going to give her another shout out here because she put together an incredible article called where is it at? One Nation, One Label Under. She also has something called One Nation Under Blackmail that covers Jeffrey Epstein, which Jeffrey Epstein is actually tied to Clive Davis, P. Diddy, and the list as well. But this is completely different. This is One Label Under Blackmail: the early intersections of Diddy and the Epstein network, right? As you can see here. And we're going to read just a little bit about Diddy's upbringing and his ties to Michael Jackson. As I said, I just dropped the Michael Jackson biopic coverage. I would highly encourage you all to go check that out. I dropped that video a couple of days ago. What I first want to show you is Diddy's introduction into the music industry. Let's see here. Let's see. What is it called? Okay. So it says here, while attending Mount St. Michael's, a teenage Combs, that being P. Diddy, began frequenting several New York nightclubs, which reportedly led to his first encounter with the music industry and famous musicians like Michael Jackson. As detailed in an interview given in 1994, shortly after launching Bad Boy Records, Combs seemingly claimed he was cast as a background dancer in one of Jackson's videos as a teenager. Right? I always find it interesting. A lot of these people are connected to each other. I just saw a video of Tupac on the street being filmed, but he randomly stopped next to a family that was standing by the road. They seemed to be waiting on the bus or something. And their little boy, who Tupac was teasing in the video, happens to have been Tyler, the Creator, who is now a famous rapper. Just wild. The quote here says, around the age 16 or 17, I started dancing, going to various clubs, and that was during the time when somebody, if a big artist like Diana Ross, Fine Young Cannibals, or even Michael Jackson had a video, the directors would come into the clubs and see all the kids that were dancing and pick various dancers to be in the video. So I got picked to be in some of those videos. And as I was dancing in the videos and stuff like that, I would see behind the scenes. I was about to go to college at Howard University and didn't know what I wanted to do. So I saw people behind the scenes and I was like, that's maybe something I wanted to do. So I started asking questions and getting information on the industry. Combs' apparent encounter with Michael Jackson, while still only a teenage dancer on the New York strip circuit or club circuit, presages the significant relationship that later emerged between the music mogul and the king of pop, which lasted for decades until Jackson's premature and suspicious death. These interlocks between Combs and Jackson are worth mentioning for a few reasons. Both artists have grappled with accusations of SA. Both men have spent years surrounded by Zionist power brokers, which I covered in the Michael Jackson video as well, within and outside of the music industry, who ingratiated themselves into their good graces or insinuated their way into their circle. And both Combs and Jackson cultivated close friendships with billionaire Epstein affiliate and Bill Clinton associate Ron Burkle. For instance, Burkle, who will be a focus of part 2 of this series, for his ties to Combs, was close to Jackson and later purchased Jackson's infamous Neverland Ranch estate for $22 million in 2020. Burkle is also reportedly the godfather of P. Diddy's children. While developing his ties to both Jackson and Combs, Burkle was a frequent flyer of Jeffrey Epstein's infamous private jet. Boom. So I thought that was super interesting. And now I want to go to Mr. Clive Davis. Let's go up here. There we are. It says Clive Davis, the hidden power behind Combs is Bad Boy Records. And part of the reason I want to make sure I state this, part of the reason why this is important is not just because of his connection to Diddy, but we get to read and learn some things, some additional things about who exactly Clive Davis was and who he was connected to, and why it's important that we point that out now that he's passed away. Because this was no ordinary person. It says Clive Davis, the hidden power behind Combs' Bad Boy Records. Eventually, Andre Harrell, who Diddy previously worked for, felt Combs was getting too cocky in his position at Uptown Records and fired him in 1993. Nevertheless, the two remained friends, with Harrell becoming the godfather to Combs' son, Justin, who was born later that same year. Diddy, shortly after leaving Uptown, created Bad Boy Records. And I also cover in my Clive Davis documentary this term bad boy. It's like, yeah, sure, there is a terminology that's used. Women like bad boys, sure. But with the reputation around Diddy, there's also another meaning to this name, bad boy. You bad boy, right? There's been questions circulating around Diddy's sexuality and Clive Davis's as well, until Clive Davis, as we mentioned earlier, eventually came out and admitted in his own book that he was indeed bisexual. Now, since the Diddy trial, pretty much I think we can safely say, I'm going to still say allegedly, P. Diddy likes men or seems to be attracted to men as well. So that gives a whole new meaning to this very interesting name they chose, Bad Boy Records. With Kirk Burroughs in 1993, Combs' new label quickly entered into a distribution deal with Arista Records, which we covered the name Arista and what it means, except I'm not going to tell you all that here. You have to go and watch the documentary, but there is an occultic meaning behind this name Arista. It is in reference to a Greek god. And the god in particular that it's in reverence to is by no mistake. And the moment you figure out what god it is, you understand why and why it's relevant. to Clive Davis. This is why he chose to name Arista Records, which was worth $15 million. Clive Davis says he met Combs when Combs was 23 years old, and that soon after meeting, Davis, quote unquote, helped introduce Diddy to the right music executives who could assist him in ushering in the forthcoming hip hop revolution. Do you hear that? Clive Davis admits himself that he, quote, helped introduce Diddy to the right music execs who could assist him in ushering in the forthcoming hip hop revolution, which we know exactly what that looks like over the past 20 years. Bad Boy Records' prolonged success was ensured by its early deal with Arista, which later expanded into a joint venture, as well as the man who would become Diddy's second record mentor in the music industry, Arista's founder and president, Clive Davis. Clive Davis's Arista was originally founded as part of the Columbia Pictures music label portfolio. At the time, Arista entered into its joint venture with Combs' Bad Boys. The label had been sold by Columbia Pictures to BMG, a German media company. However, Davis controlled Arista as if it were his own personal fiefdom until 2000. When he left the label due to BMG's age restriction policy for executives. That is, Clive Davis spent so much time, much like how we argue people in Congress should have an age limit. Well, they actually have one in the music industry, right? Isn't that crazy? There's an age limit in the music industry that you can hold certain executive positions, but there isn't one in Congress. That's crazy. That's why we got 80-year-olds and 70-year-olds in Congress and don't want to let go, right? But I digress. So it says, where were we at? However, Davis's Arista, Bad Boy, okay, yeah. He left the label due to BMG's age restriction policy for executives. Bad Boy Records ended what had then become a joint venture with Arista a few years after Davis's departure. Shortly thereafter, Bad Boy attached itself to Bronfman control interest in the music industry, which will be revisited in part 2 of this series. Clive Davis, it talks about how he grew up in Crown Heights. He is the son of a middle-class Jewish electrician and salesman. He excelled at Erasmus Hall High School and was a member of the New York City branch of the National Honor Society, dubbed Arista. And we talk about the true meaning behind this honor society in the documentary as well, which would later serve as inspiration for the name of his label at Columbia Pictures, which is not exactly the truth. But I digress. His early academic success earned Davis a full scholarship to New York University. He then attended Harvard Law School, which he graduated in 1956. All right. This is where things get super interesting with Mr. Clive Davis, because we start to dig into some of his other background and connections in history. 2 years following his graduation, Clive Davis joined the large white shoe Rosenman, Colin K. Peshtick and Frond, which is a firm. Sam Rosenman was counsel to Franklin Roosevelt and Harry Truman. Ralph Collins' clients included William Paley and CBS. Other notable clients of Rosenman and Collins LLP include 2 offshore banks owned by Bruce Rappaport. Is this Bruce Rappaport related to what's the other Rappaport name in the industry who's supposed to be a comedian, but half the time he's not funny? I wouldn't doubt it, because that Rappaport is also Jewish, from my understanding. That it's served as repositories of illicit funds from several illegal operations, specifically related to drug trafficking. Rappaport, as noted in One Nation Under Blackmail, boasted close ties to the CIA. We're going to say this again. Prior to joining the industry, Clive Davis worked for this firm. All right. One of their clients, or one of their notable clients, included two offshore banks owned by Bruce Rappaport that had served as repositories of illicit funds from illegal operations, several related to drug trafficking. Rappaport, as noted in One Nation Under Blackmail, boasted close ties to the CIA, particularly via his close friend William Casey, who we also cover in the documentary, as well as to Israeli intelligence and organized crime. Are you following? Are you all following? Rappaport was particularly affiliated with organized crime networks that included Simeon Mogilevich, an Eastern Europe mob boss who became a close business associate of Robert Maxwell in the late 1980s. And I don't think you all need me to tell you, but in case you do, Robert Maxwell is the father of Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell is the right hand, or was the right hand woe man of the one and only Jeffrey Epstein. All right. So there's your connection right there. Just one of your connections. There's actually several. Clive Davis' storied career in the music industry began via his early career at Rosenman and Collin. While working at the firm, which as previously noted, counted CBS as a client, Davis was hired to become assistant counsel of the CBS subsidiary, Columbia Records. He became the label's general counsel a year later. Clive Davis had been hired by Harvey Sheen, a former colleague of Davis at Rosenman and Collin. How convenient. All right. How convenient. Sheen was a protege of William Paley, the longtime head of CBS and father of modern broadcasting. Paley, the son of Ukrainian Jewish immigrants, had worked building up CBS into the main network of radio and main record label in the United States, having a profound effect on mass media and the shaping of Americans' musical tastes and political perceptions. This is one heck of a sentence here. We should really marinate in that for a second, because that's crazy. That's crazy. During World War II, Paley served in the office of, this is what I was trying to figure out earlier. He served in the Office of War Information, becoming chief of radio of the U.S. military psychological warfare division. Like, what, dog? What? Paley developed a very close relationship with people from the Rockefeller dynasty, David and Nelson, as well as others close to the Rockefellers, like former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. David Rockefeller and Kissinger both later eulogized Paley at his funeral in 1990, with Kissinger also serving as the chairman of Paley's foundation. All right. It says in the mid-1980s, Paley personally ensured that Lawrence Tisch would take over CBS, including its record labels. As noted earlier in this piece, Tisch in 1991 served as a founding member of the so-called Mega Group, alongside Leslie Wexner, Charles and Edgar Bronfman, and Lou Wasserman, protege of Steven Spielberg, among others. All these connections here. But this is the name that stands out to me. And let me zoom in. Yeah, y'all see that? That would be Leslie Wexner. Most of you all probably know who that is. If you don't know who that is, he is the guy who was and maybe still be, I believe he's still alive, over Victoria's Secret. He is also the mentor of Jeffrey Epstein. So there's another connection. right? It says Clive Davis's infamous and undeniably revolutionary tenure as president of CBS Records from 1967 to 1973 is most aptly characterized by the transition from the jazz, folk, and pop ethos of the 1950s to the industry-wide embrace of rock in the 1970s. Somewhat akin to the careers of Andre Harrell Combs, he was a relatively young label executive, well placed to take advantage of shifting cultural trends, effectively making his name synonymous with an emerging genre for a time. And Davis's self-hagiography, it's not a word I see very often. He had an epiphany at the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival and became determined to pivot to rock music. And I'm not going to waste too much time on this because this talks about how he eventually signed Bob Dylan, Janis Joplin, right? A lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire. I forgot all about them. And Earth, Wind, and Fire, man, incredible musicians, incredible group. Listened to them a lot growing up, but I cover this in the documentary in extensive details, especially the Patreon version if you're interested. They are some of the, didn't know this as a kid. Obviously, I just love their music. Is it September? Is that one of their biggest records? They're some of the biggest occultists in the music industry ever, bro. Their music album covers, their lyrics, their interviews, the things that they wore, the way in which they admitted on wax as to how they got song ideas. I'm like, dude, what? Has there ever been anybody that believes in Jesus Christ in the music industry, bro? Like, what? Earth, Wind, and Fire is like, I was shocked. Even doing what I do, I was shocked to see how big into the occult Earth, Wind, and Fire was. I was like, but I shouldn't be shocked. Definitely shouldn't be shocked because Clive Davis signed them. I should have known that. Right? Let's see. Let's see here. I'm trying to get into some of his stuff. It says, perhaps unknown to Davis at the time, Gambles and Huff's company, engaged in his promotional efforts, engaged in the practice of payola, the illegal practice whereby firms pay radio stations to play singles without disclosing what payments were made. CBS was implicated in the arrangement through David Winshaw, Clive Davis's closest aide at CBS. Kind of hard to believe that he didn't know about it, but I guess it's possible. I don't believe that that's the case here. Press reports soon said that CBS music subsidiaries were being investigated for bribing radio stations, not just with money, but also with drugs and sex in order to increase use of its products on Black-oriented radio stations. It says CBS, in connection with the Project Sound probe, uncovered that Davis had left a, quote, trail of phony invoices totaling at least $94,000 over 6 years that were meant to cover up Davis's use of funds for personal parties and renovations to his properties. Davis was ultimately fired by CBS as a result. And you say, well, he was punished even if he didn't do jail time. Well, I mean, soon, as it says here, the CBS payola scandal took a darker hue. In February 1972, a few days after Davis had been fired from CBS, 8 people were indicted in Newark on conspiracy and smuggling charges, which are eeringly similar to the very things that Diddy was accused of. So it seems that there's a common practice behind the scenes that Diddy's learned this from. He learned it from somebody. It says smuggling charges connected to a multi-million-dollar heroin ring operating in Italy, Canada, and the United States. As I believe I've talked about this in several videos as well, but it's been long alleged that people believe that P. Diddy has been smuggling drugs for a while, because for those of you that don't know, P. Diddy had a drug mule. But I also have that pulled up for you all as well, because I remember this, and I also believe that this kid may have been gay as well. So it's possible that they may have had a relationship. Excuse me. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Mm-mm. 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 Where you at? Okay, it's not up anymore. I don't know, but I thought I had it up. Kind of confused. I thought I had it up. But yeah, you can look it up. P. Diddy was actually arrested. P. Diddy was actually arrested for, correction. This guy that was boarding P. Diddy's private plane was arrested, and there were drugs that was found on him. And this guy would later be labeled as P. Diddy's drug mule, right? He's the guy who's responsible for carrying drugs instead of the asset themselves, that being P. Diddy, who's the breadwinner, right? You hire people to do that for you. So that's what people thought, but I thought a little bit deeper into it. Like, several people, including myself, have theorized that celebrities such as a P. Diddy, and others who I won't name in this video, are probably working for the feds. And part of the agreement is that they would be allowed to smuggle drugs on their private planes, because nobody would suspect that certain artists would indulge in that sort of behavior, right? And that is part of the way in which they get drugs into the country, is through these celebrities. And once again, where would a Diddy and the likes learn these things from? Because for those of you that don't know, P. Diddy himself, much like Clive Davis, it's not like he just stumbled onto the scene. Part of his background is important as well, because P. Diddy's dad was, from my understanding, a very notorious drug dealer. And he was connected with a lot of powerful people in and outside the industry. So okay. It says the connective tissue between CBS and this drug bust soon became apparent. A woman recently fired from CBS for being doped up at work had been indicted after working for a food stand that doubled as a front for the heroin ring in question. Patsy Falcone, aka Pascal Falcone or Falconio, an associate of the Genovese crime family, had also been indicted. Investigators found that Falcone had also had a tie to CBS by the way of his quote-unquote friendship with Davis's or Clive Davis's protege, David Winshaw, as well as via Frank Campani, a former CBS A&R man with whom Falcone has started a management company. Falcone and Campana's company managed several acts signed to CBS. Investigators later stated that Davis's name had been mentioned by Falcone in bug telephone conversations, and that evidence found on Falcone had listed Winshaw as a quote source for prostitutes. All right. And this is Clive with Whitney. And the story goes, he was in a nightclub, he heard Whitney sing, and he was blown away. All right. And so, yeah, man, but this article gets deep. I don't want to take too much of her work for my video, but you all should definitely go and check that out. It's called One Label Under Blackmail. As a matter of fact, I can link it in the description. It is also linked in the description of the Clive Davis documentary that I've been referencing all throughout this live. And so there's that. All right, y'all. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and then afterwards, I'll get to some super chat. Okay, I'm back. Let's get to some super chats, man. Need a video on Clive Davis and Grateful Dead. I briefly touched on Grateful Dead, I believe, in the Clive Davis documentary. I believe in both. I believe both the YouTube version and the Patreon version. So yeah, definitely go and check that out when you get a chance. Gina, what's up, Gina? Thank you for the $50 super chat. I was very pleased when I heard old Clive Davis was finally gone. Okay, that's one way to put it. May he burn eternally. Wow, I heard that. Also, I think Sean Ryan is ex-CIA. No such thing as ex-CIA, but I get your drift. If there is a such thing, which would explain why he was playing dumb, right? Appreciate all your work, Diddy. Love and prayers for you as always. Thank you so much, Gina. Always means a lot to hear from you, and I always appreciate you showing me love. Shout out to Gina. Here's Gina again. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Looked it up, and Sean Ryan is a Navy SEAL and Blackwater contractor. Oh, for Global Response Staff, a paramilitary security wing of the CIA. Just thought I'd clarify. Great work, Didi. Listen, you know how it works for me. Like, I still consider you CIA. Definitely appreciate that clarification, but it's all the same to me. You close enough to the fire, you'll get burnt. You know. Thank you, Gina, for the follow super chat. I meant Sean R was in when he was younger. But is there really such a thing? Much love, many prayers follow us. No, for sure. Oh damn, I'm only getting love from Gina tonight. Nobody else has any questions. Bruce Springsteen is a Catholic. I never understood how he was so popular. If you can't tell, I'm way behind here. Right? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem at all. Thank you for the $5. Okay, but yeah, man, I see a lot of y'all are asking about Charlie Kirk. I haven't covered it in like 2 months now. It's been a while. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reach out to a couple of people and maybe hop on one of their lives or something. I think people appreciate that, and that's sort of be my reintroduction to the topic because I haven't covered it nearly as much, you know. And so, yeah. So glad to catch you live, even for the last bit. No, for sure. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button as a reminder. Gina, please ask him, or you could just ask me. Mariah says, Gina, ask him if he can do a Kanika Jenkins video. Why does that name sound familiar? Kanika Jenkins. Let me look into it. Let me see. Kanika Jenkins. When did this settlement reached in Kanika Jenkins' wrongful death lawsuit? Oh, this is that lady that like it looked like she got snatched up or something. Yeah. And she like locked herself in the freezer. Yeah, I may have to look into that. I plan to finish my Kobe Bryant video this week. Been a long time in the coming, but long time in the making, rather. And I plan to sort of get to that sooner than later, you know. And so, yeah. Anyways, man, that's that. Y'all give me y'all thoughts. Pray for everybody mentioned in this video. These are my thoughts on Mr. O. Clive Davis. Well over almost 2 hours discussing this. Y'all give me y'all thoughts. And I do, by the way, I have a part 2 coming for Clive Davis with things we have not discussed about Clive Davis before. But it's a lot of research they got to go into that and a lot of structuring to make sure that everything is in chronological order and is accurate information, you know? Yeah, mom had something to do. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into it for sure. Conspiracy Podcast, thank you for the $10. Haven't gotten to watch you in a while. Love your show, Diddy. God bless. Thank you so much. The biggest way that y'all can help me with this is to just share this video with somebody, hit the like button. Make sure you're still subscribed. YouTube will unsubscribe you. Make sure you hit the notification bell. That will communicate to YouTube that you like watching the content. When you watch my videos, if you watch at least half the video, that also helps as well. It tells YouTube that you appreciate what you're watching and that they should recommend it more. That is as best you can with the shadow ban, because I'm definitely dealing with some weird stuff on my channel. Yep. Thank you for a great live. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in and supporting as always. You know, all of y'all. I love y'all, man. I'm gonna catch y'all the next one. I'm Demetrius. 666 people watching. I don't want to log off at that particular time. That's a weird number. So we're gonna wait just a few seconds and then I'm gonna log off. I'm gonna catch you all in the next one, man. Yeah, I've already said all the things. If you want to support me with merch, we have new brands. I'm actually starting to work on some new, very creative designs. I'm going to see if I can get some different materials for my shirts and things of that sort and try to upgrade in some ways. We got some things coming in the pipeline, man. Just be patient with me. But in the meantime, in between time, if you want to just check out the merch store, link is in the description to the merch store. I guarantee you're going to see something that you like, whether it be kitchenware, mugs, socks, pens, shorts, hats, and the bags, pillows, and the list goes on. Hop in the description and you'll find the link to that, and hop in the comment section and give me you all thoughts, man. I'm Demetrius. I go by Diddy. I'm going to catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast. Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate of UCA, and his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to it. Alright, let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you? Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.